This is the second tutorial of research methodology in applied econometrics, semester 5, undergraduate honors student in economics. In this class, we will study the research approaches. Sorry. Research approaches. Research approach, there is a two research approach. One is quantitative approach and this is the qualitative approach. First, we will discuss the quantitative approach. The quantitative approach uh, entails the collection of data in quantitative form that may be submitted to formal and rigid quantitative examination, and these also uh, further classified or subdivided into three categories. Those are inferential, experimental, and simulation approaches to the research. Inferential approach. The goal of an research approach is to create a data base from which to infer population features or association. This usually refers to survey research, primary survey, in which a sample of the population is researched or questioned or observed to establish its feature, and then the population as a whole is assumed to have the same traits. Next is the experimental approach. The experimental approach or method is distinguished by a larger degree of control over the research environment, and in this case, some factors are altered to see how they affect other variables. And next is the simulation approach. The simulation approach entails creating an artificial environment in which useful data and information can be created. And this allows for the monitoring of a systems or a subsystem that is dynamic behavior under controlled conditions. In business and social sciences applications, the term simulation refers to the operation of numerical model that depicts the structure of a dynamic process. A simulation is run to simulate the behavior of the process through time using the values of initial conditions, parameters, and exogenous factors. The simulation method can also be used to create models for predicting future situation. So next, we'll come to the qualitative approach. Sorry, qualitative approach or qualitative research. The subjective assessment of attitudes, views, and behavior is central to the qualitative research approach. In this case, research is based on the researcher's observations, impressions. Such a method of research yields outcomes that are either non-quantitative or have not been submitted to rigorous quantitative examination. Focus group interviews, projective approaches, and depth of interviews are commonly utilized methodologies. All of this is covered in detail in the following chapters. Then we will come to the significance of research. In recent years, the importance of research in numerous sectors of applied economics whether connected to business or the economy as a whole, has risen dramatically. The increasingly complicated nature of industry and government has increased interest in the application of research to operational issues. Both government and business have increased their reliance on research as a tool for economic policy making. So next, we will try to understand different significance of research. First, almost all government policies in our economic system are founded on research. Government budget, um, um, and such as example government budget are based in part of on an examination of people's wants and desires, as well as the availability of money to meet these demands. This is an example. So there is required research. And second is, as a result, research is regarded necessary in the allocation of countries' research resources among the common people in all the nation, all over the nation. So collecting data about the nation's economic and social structure is another area in government where study is required. Such data reveals what is going on in the economy and what changes are occurring. Collecting such statistical data is by no means a simple undertaking, and it entails a wide range of study research issues. Almost all governments now employ a big number of research technicians or experts to carry out this function. So in this context, government research as a tool for economic policy has three distinct phases of operation. Investigation phase one includes the investigation of economic structure through continuous comprehension of facts, diagnosis of current events, and analysis of the forces underlying them, and prognosis, that is forecasting for future development. Then the forecasting, third is the objective of the government research, is forecasting the future development. Research plays a critical role in resolving a variety of operational and planning issues in business and industry. Operations research, market research, and motivational research are all considered essential, and the results aid in making company decisions in a variety of ways. Market research is the study. Similarly, the market research. So we will go the next phase. The market research is the study of a market structure evaluation, where the goal of developing effective purchasing, production, and sales practices. The use of mathematical, logical, and analytical tools to solve to the solving of business problems involving cost minimization or profit maximization, often known as optimization problem, is referred to as operations research. So motivational research focus on market characteristics in order to figure out why people behave the way they do. To put it another way, it is concerned with the determining the reasons that underpin customer behavior. All of this is extremely beneficial to those in business and industry who are in charge in making business decision In business, research on demand and market dynamics is quite useful. It is generally not difficult for a corporation or an industry to change its supply schedule within the boundaries of its esteemed capacity, given knowledge of future demand. These days, market analysis is an important tool in company policy. And then for the social scientist, research is equally vital in researching social relationships and finding solutions to various social problems. It gives the intellectual delight of knowing a few things just for the sake of knowing, as well as having practical utility for the social scientist to know in order to perform something better or more or efficient. In addition to what has already been said, the importance of researcher can also be understood by considering the following options also. For students preparing to write a master's or doctoral thesis or dissertation, research can be means of advancing their careers or achieving a higher social status. Next, for those who work in research methodology, research can be a source of income or livelihood, maybe a source of livelihood. Research can be also a source of fresh ideas and insights for philosophers and intellectuals. Research might entail the creation of new styles and creative work for literary men and women. And to analyze the intellectuals, research may imply the applications of new theories to a larger scale. As a result, research is a wellspring of knowledge for the sake of knowledge, as well as a valuable source of recommendations for resolving various corporate, governmental, and societal issues. So thank you for the second tutorial on research methodology.